Amanda walked into my kitchen with a notary and a stack of papers, smiling like she had already won. That was her mistake. She didn't know I'd already called the sheriff. You're probably wondering how I ended up here, 68, sitting in my own house while my new daughter-in-law tried to legally erase me. This story doesn't start with betrayal. It starts with a wedding, and a lie I didn't see coming. 2 days earlier, I sat in the front pew of St. James Church in the little town of Pine Grove, watching my only son, Daniel, say his vows. Amanda looked beautiful, polished, soft-spoken, everything a mother might hope her son would find. I even cried during the ceremony, not because I was emotional, but because I thought we'd finally become a real family. I was wrong. The reception was held at the Pine Grove Country Club. I worked there once as a cleaner back when Daniel was still in school. I used to scrub floors and serve drinks so he could have decent shoes and a shot at college. Now I was a guest watching my son start a new chapter. And I'd helped $15,000 of help to be exact. All from my pension and the little I saved every month, skipping dinners out and taking the bus instead of driving. I gave that money to help them with a house. My name was on the deed, or so I thought. A big thank you to Margaret, Amanda said during her toast, holding her champagne like a queen, for being so supportive. She's been living with us for months and helping with our down payment. Everyone clapped politely. I smiled, but my stomach turned. She made it sound like I was a charity case. What she didn't say. Amanda was the one who convinced Daniel that I shouldn't live alone anymore. She cried about safety, worried I'd fall or forget to turn off the stove. They moved me in just for a while, until we found something better. And the $15,000? Supposedly a loan. But no one mentioned repayment again. The speeches continued, all praise and polished grins. But I caught the sideways glances from Amanda's friends. To them, I was just an old woman they'd eventually take care of. What Amanda didn't know was that I kept records. Every check, every text, every agreement. The next morning, I came downstairs to find Amanda sitting at the kitchen table with a man in a gray suit. "Margaret," she said cheerfully. "This is Mr. Carlson from Summit Legal Services. We've got some paperwork to go over." I poured my coffee slowly. What kind of paperwork? Daniel wasn't even home. "He's at the gym," Amanda said. "He thought it'd be less stressful if I handled this." Mr. Carlson cleared his throat. "Your son and daughter-in-law have arranged for you to move into Maple Ridge Senior Living. They've already put down the deposit." I almost laughed. "Without asking me?" "We wanted it to be a surprise," Amanda said. "Daniel's been so worried about your memory lately." That's when I knew. They'd been setting me up for weeks. Amanda kept noting when I forgot small things, where I put my reading glasses, what day it was. All harmless until now. "We'd also like to update the deed, Mr. Carlson said. Transfer full ownership to Amanda and Daniel. It makes refinancing simpler." "And the $15,000 I gave you?" "A gift," Amanda said sweetly. "For the wedding. You want your son to be secure, don't you?" I stared at them. "Where's Daniel?" "He trusts me to manage these things," she said. I sipped my coffee. "I'll need some time. Margaret, Mr. Carlson has other appointments. I'm not signing anything today." Mr. Carlson looked relieved. "Amanda?" "Not so much." After they left, I went upstairs to the guest room. Not mine, not anymore. My old place, my old name on the mailbox gone. But I still had the documents. Hidden in a place Amanda never thought to check. She always said it was safer to keep important papers in their room. I'd quietly made copies before she took them. That night I reviewed everything. The original deed with my name still on it. The check stub. And the power of attorney Daniel asked me to sign months ago, just in case. What Amanda didn't know was I had my own lawyer insert a clause. Daniel could only act on my behalf if 2 doctors declared me mentally incompetent. I passed every medical exam 6 weeks ago. And yesterday I sent everything, including Amanda's texts, to the sheriff's office in Pine Grove. I didn't hear back. Until this morning, when Amanda walked in with the notary. And I said, "Perfect timing. But let's stop by the police station first." Amanda's face went pale. Amanda stood frozen in the middle of my kitchen, her fingers tightening around the folder like it might protect her from what was coming. "The police?" she repeated, voice too high, too careful. I nodded. They've been expecting us. I sent over copies of those documents yesterday. Fraud falls under their jurisdiction, doesn't it? Mr. Carlson blinked. Mrs. Walker, maybe we should step outside. I think we're fine right here, I said. Unless Amanda's got somewhere to be. She didn't speak. For the first time since the wedding, she didn't have anything rehearsed. Let's rewind for a moment. You might be wondering, why didn't I just walk away when I saw what they were doing? Move out, start over, leave them behind? Because that house wasn't just drywall and a mortgage. That house was built with double shifts, cold dinners, and shoes I didn't buy so Daniel could have a proper suit for graduation. That house was earned, and now they wanted to take it politely, legally behind my back. But they weren't counting on one thing: how far a mother will go to remind her child where he came from. After Amanda and her notary left, I called my neighbor Helen. She's 74, former city clerk, sharp as a tack. She came over in 10 minutes with her reading glasses and a notebook. You weren't imagining things, she said after skimming the documents. They're trying to push you out before you even realize what's happening. That night we pulled out every paper I had. Deed copy, check scans, power of attorney. Then we made another call, to a local lawyer, Samuel Bennett. His office was 2 blocks from the post office. Known for being discreet and efficient. I explained the situation. He didn't even blink. They're counting on silence, he said. Don't give it to them. I gave him everything. By the next morning, the sheriff had the documents, along with a letter from Mr. Bennett stating my legal position and a formal request for assistance. Just in case they tried anything while we waited for the courts to move. And move they did. Amanda tried again the next day. This time she brought Daniel. He didn't look me in the eye when he walked in. Just kept his arms crossed, jaw tight, like he was bracing for impact. We just want what's best for everyone, he said. You mean for you, I replied. Amanda reached for the papers. Let's not make this harder than it has to be. I turned to Daniel. Do you even know what you're asking me to do? Sign away my name. My rights. Everything I've worked for. He shrugged. You'll be taken care of. You want to put me in a place with strangers and call that care? It's a nice facility. I laughed. You haven't been there. You don't even know the name of the woman who runs it. That's when I slid the folder across the table. Inside was a copy of the letter from Mr. Bennett, the sheriff's acknowledgement, and a notarized copy of the deed with my name in bold. I'd highlighted it in yellow, Amanda's favorite color. You want to talk about rights? I said, voice low. Here are mine. Amanda's smile cracked. Daniel stood there, lips parting like he might say something, but nothing came out. Go home, I told them. Come back when you remember who I am. They left in silence. That evening, I made my usual tea and sat by the kitchen window. The same one I used to decorate with snowflake cutouts for Daniel when he was little. The house was quiet, but it felt different now, like it belonged to me again. But this wasn't over. I knew Amanda. She wouldn't give up just because a few documents didn't go her way. No, the next move would be quieter. Smoother. She would try to wear me down. She didn't know that after surviving chemo 5 years ago, nothing rattles me. The next week, I got a call from Maple Ridge, the senior facility. Mrs. Walker, we received confirmation that your room will be available next week. I nearly dropped the phone. I never applied, I said. Oh well, the deposit's already been made. Signed by your son. Of course it was. That night I sat at my desk and wrote 2 letters. One to Maple Ridge, revoking any placement. And one to Amanda and Daniel. Hand-delivered. No lawyers. Just my handwriting. Inside the envelope, a photo of the deed, the $15,000 check scan, and a single line that read, I brought you into this world. Don't test how far I'll go to take back what's mine. 2 days after I dropped off the letter, Amanda came storming through the front door like she owned it, which, to be clear, she did not. I was in the kitchen peeling apples. Calm. Collected. Ready. What is this supposed to mean? She demanded, holding up the photo of the deed and my 1-sentence note like it was a threat. It means exactly what it says, I replied. Sit down. Unless you'd rather keep shouting and let the neighbors wonder why my daughter-in-law's screaming at a retired teacher over real estate. She sat. I didn't look at her. Just kept slicing. Amanda crossed her arms. You're trying to make Daniel feel guilty. No, I said. That's not me. That's his conscience. She exhaled sharply. Look, we're not trying to take anything from you. We're trying to protect what's best for our future. Our future. I echoed. Interesting word choice. I finally looked up. Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time there was a boy who wanted to be an architect. His mother worked nights and weekends so he could go to design school. He made it. Got the job. Bought a house. But the house didn't feel like his, because the down payment was someone else's. Amanda blinked. Are you talking about Daniel? I'm talking about you. You think I married him for a house? I think you walked in here with a notary 3 days after your honeymoon, I said. And that tells me everything I need to know. Silence. Then she changed tactics. You're lonely, she said. This is about control. You're afraid to let go. That almost made me laugh. The kind of laugh that sounds like a warning bell. You think this is about control? I asked. Amanda, I raised a child by myself. I've lived alone longer than you've been married. I'm not afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of wasting what I've built on people who think love is leverage. Amanda stood up. You're twisting everything. You're trying to poison Daniel against me. I turned back to my apples. I'm not trying anything. I don't have to. She left without another word. That night Daniel texted. Daniel, can we talk? I waited 15 minutes before replying. Me in person. He came by the next afternoon. Alone. His face looked tired. Older than 42. Like the weight of his choices had finally caught up. I didn't know she went behind my back, he said, sitting on the couch like he used to when he was 16 and in trouble. She didn't, I said. He blinked. What? She told you she was handling it and you let her. That's not the same as going behind your back. That's giving her the keys and pretending you didn't know where she was driving. He looked down at his hands. I didn't think it would go this far. I nodded slowly. That's the problem with thinking. It doesn't help much if you never act. I just wanted to take care of things. Make it easier. Easier for who? Silence. Finally he whispered. I thought you'd be okay with it. You thought I'd sign over everything I've worked for, move into a care facility I didn't choose, and vanish quietly. He didn't answer. That's when I stood up and handed him a folder. Inside was a revised deed draft and a note from my lawyer. I've moved to make it official. You and I are co-owners, yes. But my share is now in a trust. Daniel looked confused. A trust? Yes, I said. One you can't touch. Not without court approval or my written consent. I've also updated my medical proxy and my power of attorney. Your name is no longer on either. He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. This isn't a punishment. It's protection. For me. Because while I'm still your mother, I've decided I'm also my own person again. And I'm done waiting for people to value that. Daniel looked like he might cry, but he didn't. He stood, nodded once, and walked out the door. That was the last time I saw him for 2 weeks. And Amanda? She didn't reach out at all. But I wasn't surprised. People like her don't apologize. They regroup. And sure enough, when the mail came that Friday, there it was. A letter from a real estate attorney in Silver Hill, requesting my signature to initiate formal ownership reassignment for the benefit of family estate planning. In other words, she was trying again. But now? Now I was ready. Amanda's latest move, sending a formal letter from a new attorney, wasn't a surprise. It was desperation in legal packaging. I didn't respond. Instead, I picked up the phone and called someone else. Lillian. She's not a lawyer. She's not even family. But she's the closest thing I've got to a sister. We've known each other for 43 years, since before Daniel could walk. She was with me when my husband passed, helped repaint my porch one summer, and held my hand when I got the biopsy results back in 16. She arrived that afternoon, red lipstick, church shoes, and a folder of her own. I figured it was time we got strategic, she said, dropping the folder on my kitchen table. You play defense too long. They think you've forgotten how to hit back. Inside her folder, a detailed timeline of Amanda's behavior over the last 6 months. Dates, screenshots, witness statements, including a few from Helen next door, who apparently overheard more than I knew. You could take this to court right now, Lillian said. I'm not there yet, I told her. Then what's the plan? I smiled. To remind them who raised Daniel. That weekend I went to church like always. Sat in the third pew left side just like I had for 30 years. Only this time I didn't stay for coffee after service. I had somewhere to be. Maple Ridge. Yes, the same senior living facility they tried to send me to. I'd scheduled a tour. Not because I planned to move there, but because I needed to see what Amanda was willing to trade me for. I walked through the halls. Clean. Quiet. Smelled like air freshener and overcooked carrots. The director, a young man named Spencer, gave me the usual pitch. Social activities, 24-hour care, shared rooms available. I wouldn't have privacy? I asked. There are private options, he said. But the deposit you've already placed covers a shared suite. I raised an eyebrow. You mean they paid for a room I never asked for? He gave me a careful look. They said it was what you wanted. I turned to face him. Does this look like the face of a woman who doesn't speak for herself? To his credit, Spencer didn't flinch. Later that day, I went back home and began preparing the final part of my plan. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't spite. It was about legacy. I called Samuel Bennett, my lawyer, and had him draft a new trust. One that ensured my half of the house would be passed on to someone who'd never try to take it from me. Someone who didn't see me as a burden but a builder. My late sister's daughter, Melanie, came to mind. A nurse. Single mother. Visits every Christmas. Never asked for a thing. She'd be the new beneficiary. If anything happened to me, it would go to her. And Daniel? Daniel would get something too. A letter. Not legal. Not bitter. Just honest. 3 days later, Daniel showed up again. No text. No warning. Just knocked on the door and waited. He looked worse than before. Eyes tired. Shoulders slumped. Can we talk? He asked. I let him in. No words. Just motioned to the kitchen table where I'd already set out 2 mugs and a fresh pot of coffee. He sat. I poured. What's this really about? He finally asked. I mean, it's not just about the house, right? I looked at him. Really looked. My son. My boy who used to make me Mother's Day cards with misspelled words and glue everywhere. No, I said softly. It's about respect. He didn't speak. I continued. You married a woman who sees me as a roadblock, not a person, and you let her. I didn't mean to. But you did. I thought I could keep things separate, keep peace. There's no peace in silence, Daniel. Just permission. That hit him. I saw it in the way he exhaled, eyes brimming. I didn't want to lose her, he whispered. And I didn't want to lose you, I said. But here we are. Silence again. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a small envelope. My name written in his handwriting. I've signed over my interest in the house, he said quietly. Amanda doesn't know. Not yet. I did it this morning. I stared at the envelope. Why? Because I remembered who helped me buy it. I didn't open the envelope right away. I just looked at Daniel. You're serious? I asked. He nodded. I'm not proud of how I handled things. But I'm not going to let her take from you what you built. I believed him. For the first time in weeks I saw my son. Not Amanda's husband, not a grown man hiding behind texts, but the boy I raised. The one who used to leave thank you notes on the kitchen counter after I packed his lunch. I opened the envelope. Inside was a signed quitclaim deed, removing his name from the property. It was real. Witnessed. Notarized. Does Amanda know? I asked. He hesitated. She will. Soon. I nodded and placed the paper gently back into the envelope. You did the right thing, I said. Now you'll have to live with it. Amanda showed up that evening. Alone. I knew she'd come. She didn't knock. She let herself in. Like she still thought this was her house. She walked into the kitchen and set her purse on the table like nothing had changed. We need to talk, she said. I agree, I replied. Would you like some tea? I'm not here for tea. Then I'll make some for myself. I moved slowly, deliberately. She hated that when I wasn't rushed. When she couldn't control the tempo. She sat across from me as I boiled the water, poured it, stirred honey into my mug, and finally joined her at the table. She folded her arms. Daniel told me what he did. I sipped my tea. He made a mistake, she continued. No, I said. He corrected one. Amanda's eyes narrowed. You think this fixes everything? I don't think about you as much as you think I do. She blinked, caught off guard. Here's what I know, I said. You tried to maneuver me out of my home. You used manipulation, pressure, and fake kindness to get what you wanted. And you thought I wouldn't fight back. I didn't. You did, I said, cutting her off. You thought age meant weakness. But you forgot who taught Daniel to stand up. You forgot who survived a husband's funeral, 3 layoffs, and cancer without asking anyone for a thing. Her lips tightened. So here's what's going to happen, I continued. You're going to take your things and you're going to leave. This house no longer has your name anywhere on the paperwork. I'm still his wife. And that's your business. Not mine. She scoffed. You think you've won? I leaned in. I don't need to win, I said. I just need peace. And now I have it. Amanda stood, furious. Daniel will regret this. That's between you and him. She paused in the doorway. You'll die alone in this house. I smiled. Better alone than surrounded by people who pretend to care. She left. This time I locked the door behind her. Later that night, I pulled out a fresh notebook. The kind I used to keep when Daniel was a baby. Pages and pages of milestones. First words, first steps, first days of school. Now I began a different list. People to call. People to reconnect with. Memories I wanted to revisit on my terms. Not someone else's schedule. The house was quiet again. Not empty. Not cold. Just calm. Amanda was gone. Daniel hadn't returned yet. But I wasn't waiting. I spent the next week doing something no one expected. Living. I went to the market on Wednesday, bought fresh flowers and the expensive kind of cheese I used to pass over. I had coffee with Helen on her porch and called my niece Melanie just to say hello. I even started knitting again, something I hadn't touched in years. It wasn't about pretending nothing happened. It was about showing myself that I was still here. That even after the storm Amanda brought into this house, I still had something she would never understand. Roots. The following Saturday, Daniel returned. This time he didn't come to fix anything. He came to listen. We sat in the backyard, the sun low, a gentle breeze stirring the air. The same spot where I once taught him how to plant tomatoes. He was quieter now. Not out of guilt but reflection. She's leaving, he finally said. Amanda. I think it's for the best. I nodded. That's between the two of you. I was blind, he said. I didn't want to believe she could do that to you. You didn't want to believe you could let her. He looked down. I let a lot of things happen. I know, I said gently. But now you have to decide what kind of man you're going to be. Not for me. For yourself. He sat with that for a long time. Then he said, I'm going to make it right. Not just with the house. With us. You don't get to make it right, I said. You earn it. Over time. He nodded slowly. Then I'll start now. And he did. He came over the next weekend to fix the broken step on the porch. The weekend after that he brought groceries. Small things. But I noticed. And I let him. Because forgiveness isn't a moment. It's a series of choices. Months passed. I didn't tell many people what had happened. I didn't need to. This wasn't a story for gossip. It was a story for quiet strength. Melanie called one afternoon. Aunt Margaret, are you serious about what your lawyer sent me? I don't do things halfway, sweetheart. She was quiet. Then she said, Thank you. I'll take care of it when the time comes. I know you will. I walk this house now with a sense of ownership deeper than paperwork. Because ownership isn't about signatures or square footage. It's about memory. It's about the chair Daniel used to curl up in when he had nightmares. It's about the floor I scrubbed on my hands and knees before job interviews. It's about the mirror in the hallway that still reflects a woman who refused to be erased. Amanda tried to take something that wasn't hers. She thought I'd fold. She thought I was fragile. But fragile doesn't mean weak. It means you've been shaped by pressure. And I've been shaped by a lifetime of it. This house is mine. My story is mine. And no one, not a notary, not a daughter-in-law, not even a son I still love, gets to rewrite it.